Would you be willing to kill to unlock divine potential and become God? Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule. So God created mankind in his own image. Genesis 1:26. I'm talking about killing your current identity, how to harness this potential to rewrite yourself so you can create a brand new life. What if the reason that you're stuck or lacking fulfillment has nothing to do with your current habits, but silently the old self that has been controlling your life behind the scenes? And I learned this firsthand when I built 2 7-figure businesses, felt empty the entire time, then got realigned with God, and I feel more like myself. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to dismantle your current identity, rebuild unstoppable character, and access the potential you never thought possible without losing who you truly are. Yes, sir! What's going on, family? It's your man, Mr. Law of Attraction. Super excited for today's video. I spent hours making this for you, so I know you're gonna love it. How to reinvent yourself and become a God. So I love this. So I first want to start off with the quote by Marcus Aurelius, and he said this: "The obstacles to action advance action. What stands in the way becomes the way." I want you to know that the thing that you're going through right now, man, you're going through a tough time. Maybe you have all the money in the world, you bought all the watches, the cars and stuff, and you're not finding fulfillment. You're like, there has to be more in life. Or you're just simply wanting to scale your life and scale your business to the next level, then you're in the right place, because you are hitting a roadblock that has nothing to do with your hands, man. It has everything to do with what's going on in here, in your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. We're going to break down all of these. So as you guys, I'm going to give you a nice little synopsis. We got a lot of things. I got some teaching points, some concepts, some real world examples, and then application. You got to have to apply this to your life. So get off of TikTok. Everything's going to want to distract you. If you can't watch this video for the next few minutes, then you're lost. So I'm going to be like, I spent so much time so you could really apply this. There's a worksheet that comes with this, so you can really leave this video understanding what you need to do to take your life to the next level, whether it's money, whether it's just fulfillment, or whatever it is that you're going after in your life. So let's go ahead and talk about what is character design. Okay, so here's what I've defined as character design. In this intentional process of upgrading your habits, character design is the intentional process of upgrading your identity, your habits, and your mindset and the environment to match the person capable of achieving your biggest goals. We're talking about killing the old version of yourself and bringing in a new winning version. You call it self-concept, you can call it identity, self-image, all of that is the same thing. And it shifts the focus from what you want to who you must become. I learned this from Wes Watson. He's like, don't ask how, ask who. And I love that. It's like, who do we need to become in order to have it? So your current character, I want you to think of it like your life right now is a character. Think of GTA. You're a GTA character, right? So you're a character. Your current character right now is made up of your default behaviors, beliefs, routines, and self-image known as your paradigm. A paradigm is a multitude of your habits. Think of it as your mental conditioning or your mental programming. So if you set massive goals, what we call C-type goals, these are fantasies. If you're watching this, you're probably successful already, 7, 8 figures or so, maybe 6 figures, something like this. So you know about setting these massive goals, right? But what's happened is, if you keep going after those goals with last year's habits and 2019's beliefs, you're doomed to plateau and self-sabotage. So like, I don't cover it in this lesson, but you may know when you're underperforming your self-image because you what you call lock in. You turn on the burners, you lock in, you focus, no alcohol, no party, you lock in, and you build your business back up to your standards. But sometimes if you're overperforming your self-image, you self-sabotage. And we're going to talk about some of those vices that you might self-sabotage you, so stay tuned. So just like a video game, your character must level up before the game lets you access bigger missions. So imagine you're a GTA character. Let's just say you're dropping to Los Santos and you're level 1 character. You got a baseball bat and a bike, and you try to go to a level 10 mission where you have to go talk to a lawyer and then you have to break into a bank, and you have no armor, no weapons. You're gonna die every single time. And that's the problem that you're finding yourself in, is that you are in a new world where you have new things that are in your business, in your life, whether it's your relationships, and you have all this pressure on you, right? And the pressure is really bleeding into other parts of your life known as vices, and we'll cover that. So here's the core teaching of today. You don't need more goals. You need a new self-identity, a new program, and I'll be breaking down, as you see here, exactly what to do so you can walk away with that. So your success in 2025 and moving forward will not come from more effort or ambition. It will come from creating a superior version of yourself, a new version of yourself, a character designed to make your goals inevitable because of who you became. This means getting radically honest about your current results, shedding what no longer serves you, and deliberately constructing the traits, habits, and mindset and the lifestyle that your future self needs and deserves. And I'll be teaching you exactly how to do that later on in the video. So let's go over some key concepts. I broke down 8 for you so you can really understand what this is. And then each of these has a application to your life so you can implement it right into your life. So this next few minutes here is really worthwhile to you. So let's talk about number 1 here. Life is a game, but you are the player and you're the developer. Okay, so I want you to see it as this, like your physical body. We have 3 parts: our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our body. So our body is the player or the character in the game, but the mind is the developer that's controlling. Like, we're living in a matrix, we're living in some type of like simulation. Even the CIA proved this back when they were doing the gateway process and the Monroe Institute and all that kind of stuff. You can read up on that. We're living in some type of hologram, and that hologram responds to consciousness. And so you can't be a level 10 when you are level 2 character. Now we can hit it in all areas: health, wealth, and relationships. Okay, so if you're watching this, maybe you're already making some good money. Maybe you're 6, 7, 8 figure, maybe even 9 figures. So you hit that area, but then the other areas may have been neglected. And so if we don't level up all the attributes, you might find lack of fulfillment. And the best way to explain this is, like, I was at an event last night, and this guy was very wealthy, very, very wealthy, does trading, has trading bots and everything. And I was telling him about what I do. And I was like, hey, I help, very well off, high performing men find fulfillment and hit all areas of their life so they can really get after it when the money can't do it anymore. And he literally verbatim explained what I did before I even had to say it, because he knows that there gets to a point where buying another watch, another car, having sex with another girl, something like this doesn't fill the void that's inside, because what's happening is you're being called to level up your character and get closer to God. And so goals expose the gap between your current identity and who you want to become. Okay, so number 2, honest self-awareness is step 1. So before you upgrade, you must know your current specs. Now, I have a worksheet that you can do. It's up to you, or I can just gonna outline it where you can actually assess like what your current situation is. So this includes your fears, your flaws, self-sabotaging habits, limiting beliefs. And it's like, the best way is like, I live in Dubai. I'm in Emaar Beach right now, so you may not see it, but that's like the beach right there. And depending on how cloudy it is, that's 5 palms. So that's the palm. You can see all that. So we're basically on a little fake island here in Dubai. Okay, so if you're in Dubai Mall, if you have ever been there, it's the craziest freaking mall. If, let's just say I say, meet me at this cafe, meet me at the Dior Cafe, for example, okay? And you land in one of the 20 entrances there. If you don't know where you're at, does it matter where you're going? Meaning point B is the destination, right? Where you're trying to get to, which is meeting me at the cafe. But if you don't know where you're at, the map doesn't matter. And it's like that with life. Many of us are going after something out there where we know what we want. Let's just say you want to build a $100 million company. You want to build your net worth to 10 million or 1 million. Or you want to hit your first $100,000 a month, whatever that is. We have that end destination, but a lot of the times we don't know where we're at. And one of the best ways to explain this is when I got connected to Bob Proctor. This was 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago. And I was dead broke, sleeping in cars. And I had to get to the point where I had to be honest with myself and say I was broke at that time. And there's that at that moment that I admitted that I was broke, that I sought out help, which is in the case was Bob Proctor. And within 45 days of meeting him, I scaled my businesses to 6 figures a month and just built it from there. And it was at that moment where I took responsibility. Or if it came to like addiction with porn or alcohol or any other vices that we'll be talking about here in a little bit, right? So the point of number 2 here is, in order to really go to the next level and identify the new being, we're going to have to understand where we're currently at. And so judgment blocks your growth. Now, I've noticed that a lot of wealthy people don't judge as much as the broke people, because hate never comes from the top down. It always comes from the bottom up. But judgment of people who have what you want is also self-sabotage. And it reveals hidden envy, fear of being seen, and unworthiness. And really, we want to align with people that have the results that we want. And they say the birds of a feather flock together. You've seen this. And for example, like when I hired Wes Watson, I don't work with him anymore, but he's the guy that kind of like jump started me back into this YouTube channel again. So I hired him. When I first saw him, I was like, bro, who is this guy in your face? That's too much. He like turned me off for a while because I was only watching surface level Instagram videos. But when I started watching his podcast, I was like, I like this guy. You know, his delivery is interesting, but his concepts are really good. I took him up on it, and that was probably the best shape I was ever in my life. My habits, dropping vices, and it inspired me to restart this YouTube channel again. But I want to say that when I first saw him, it was this kind of, what the fuck is this guy, right? But really, I needed the message. And I've seen that with a lot of people. Whenever I find myself scrolling on Instagram, which I don't do often, but if I see somebody, I'm like, I feel sometimes some feelings coming up, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of the times things that I want to do, envy or something like that. So I assess those feelings and I fix them. But for a lot of people, especially the brokies and stuff like that, that right there keeps them down. So let's talk about how to design your new character. So you're not stuck with who you've been. Your core self-image was formed between the ages of 0 and 7. So that has been scientifically proven that between the age of those ages right there, whatever's impressed upon the child will believe and internalize as real. So here you are today. And I want you to see this on the left side here. So you have your, at the top part, that's your conscious mind, your thinking mind. The bottom is your subconscious mind, and then you have your body, the little circle there. But on the right, you, between the ages of 0 and 7, as an infant, radio, other people, news, TV, teachers, environment, right? Those are all programmed into your paradigm, which is your programming or your self-image. And so now here you are, you're 35, you're 45, you're 55, you're 29. And what I find out is that business is a personal development plan with a compensation attached to it. Meaning, once you get into business, all of your habits are exposed, right? If your ability to focus, your ability to lock in, your ability to keep your word to yourself and to others and dealings with business, right? You get into business, it's about personal development and how you manage yourself and manage others. And just that's what it's like. And if your business isn't going the way you want it to be, it's because your character is flawed. Or maybe you hit the financial wins already, but now you're stuck in another area or wondering, like, is there more to this? And that's because you have to address the other characters in your life and the other parts, which we'll be discussing here in a little bit. But I want to talk about how this is formed, because this is for each area of your life. You have them for health, you have them for wealth, you have them for relationships. Like, I want you to understand that for those of you that are like still getting up, 6-7 figures and stuff like that, sometimes the wealthy people have issues. Like, I'll tell you the story about this this guy that I met when I was living in Miami. I used to live at the Paramount, which is one of the nicest buildings in Miami. And I met this gentleman. I didn't know at the time. I found out later when we did business in Colombia that he had a $50 million net worth, guy from China. And we met with him, and he took a liking to me because this is my work, spirituality, fulfillment, mindset, these kind of things. But he had a lot of money. He was making a lot of money. And so he would always like ask me questions like, DeAndre, how do I do the meditations? How do I get more aligned? All this kind of good stuff. And then one day he opened up to me. He said, DeAndre, like, I have this girl. I don't really know if like she likes me or whatever. And I'm like, well, tell me about the situation. And I find out that this girl is spending $10,000 a day on his Amex card. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what just blows my mind. But he found validation in allowing the girl to spend money so he can get this hot girl. And I was like, bro, that's a leech. And that's an example of one of the guys that have a lot of money. He had all the cars, multiple different properties throughout Miami. But yet when it came to his relationships part, especially when it came to women, he needed to purchase the love or purchase the validation, and it just wasn't working out. After that conversation, he ended up cutting her off, and I know he found some more fun. And obviously we went to Colombia, so you already know how that is, right? But that's an example of sometimes the wealthy guys will have what a lot of you are striving for materially, but on another area are dealing with drugs, escorts, lust, porn, or some other like vice and stuff like that, which we'll talk about why that comes into play. So like a video game character, your future self can be built intentionally and creatively, right? So just because you're programmed in a certain way doesn't mean you're stuck like that forever. If you're watching this video, especially up to this point, most brokies have left. They can't even concentrate. Their TikTok brain is gone, or whether you're listening to me on the side as a podcast, you can change your life, and you know that. and you can rewrite a new life, but it has to be intentional. It's not just gonna happen. And here's the best way I can explain it. You know you've been needing to stop dropping those vices, and you know you've been having to wake up early or add some habit or go to the gym or eat healthy, and we'll talk about these in a minute. You know that, but you haven't been doing it because there's a gap between what you know and what you do, and that gap is worth a lot of money, and it's worth a lot of pain and a lot of pleasure for those of you that close that gap, which is the purpose of this video here. And because of that, by simply being intentional, which is like today's video and the worksheets I'm going to give you, will allow you to get in there and finally dissect it and put thought to paper, to action, to result. And so in section 4 here, I will show you how to apply this to your life step by step, completely for free. I have everything lined up for you. Okay, so number 5 here, identity must be supported by routines. Now let's get into the actual habits, right? So results are a reflection of your habits, and your habits are a reflection of your actions are a result of your feelings are a result of your thoughts, and so on and so forth. It's a cycle. Okay, so now let's get into how to actually get those routines in. So habits are the code that sustain the identity. So a new concept demands a new schedule, style, and way of being. So we want to reinforce our environment to align with this identity. So for example, I'll be honest, like I'm the type of guy that I like sweets really early in the morning. I have this weird freaking habit. Not anymore. I'm talking about the old version of myself, where I'd wake up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. and eat like a bowl of cereal, or I don't know, something sweet. And I would just wake up, not even think about it, wake up, eat some sweets, then go back to sleep. It was the weirdest thing, and I've been like that for pretty much like the last 10 years. So in order to fix my environment, I don't have any sweets in my house anymore, right? Not only do I have reinforced the identity that, hey, why is this happening? Addressing it, right? Current situation. And then reinventing the new identity. But then I also threw away all the cereals, all the sweets, all that kind of BS to not allow it in my environment. So here's the 4 stages of a habit. The first one is a cue, right? And the cue is typically programmed part of your paradigm, part of your self-image. There's some type of cue. Let's just say for those of you that are battling with lust, okay? There's a cue. You have a lot of pressure in your business. Maybe you're lost, you're lacking clarity, or you don't know what the next step is. You could, by the way, you could be doing this at freaking millions of dollars, and you're just like buying shit. You're kind of like lost, and you're like, hey, let me go on some lustful binge, okay? So the cue is boredom or wanting to escape or distraction or lack of clarity. That's the cue. So then the craving is lust. It could be escorts. It can be porn. It can be just meaningless sex with chicks, going out on dates. You don't want anything serious with the chick, but you're going to go out there anyways. So that's the craving. And so your response is you hit up the chick, you hit up the website, you go out there and you do your thing. And so your reward is your distraction. You get to have your 15 minutes of ecstasy or the distraction for a few hours, and then you have to jump back into your real life, which is what you're hiding from, and it just repeats the cycle over and over and over again. So you've been battling with lust, right? You could do it with drugs, you can do it with alcohol, you can do it with any of these things, right? So in order for us to get the reward, which is distracting from the lack of clarity or the lack of fulfillment or any of these things, that's what's happening here. So what I'm talking about is not going and just, saying stop watching porn and dealing with escorts and lust or alcohol or any of these vices, is that we have to go back to the cue, back to the programming. Where is this coming from? Is that making sense? So number 6, environment and brotherhood accelerate the change. So success happens faster in a high frequency environment. This is why a lot of people have masterminds, events. You have them in golf, you have them in politics. Just getting around other men is helpful. For those of you that are doing well for yourself, maybe you're in a car club, maybe you're in a motorsports, maybe you're in some type of martial arts, something like this, where you're in an environment with other men so you can keep each other accountable, and it just boosts up the testosterone. So your circle, your content, diet, and your community must reflect your next level. So if you're trying to, let's say it's lust again, like why are you following all these chicks? That's a cue. If you're on Instagram and you're seeing this stuff, or Twitter, or wherever you watch your social media, get off of this site. Like, don't allow those things in like, I don't follow any of these chicks. Well, I'm in a relationship, but even then, like, I didn't follow that. Why should I give my masculine potential, aka my sexual energy, to a random chick on Instagram? So go ahead and clean up your Instagram and clean up your circle. Some of you have friends that are bingers, right? I have certain friends where it's like, whenever we get together, we're chasing chicks, we're going to Colombia, doing some degeneracy, some shit like this. So I don't hang out with them anymore because I'm wanting to go on a different path. So engineering your circle, your content, and the community that you're with. And so what you can do is you can do two things. You can pay to be in an environment. For example, you can join a car group here in Dubai. They have these car groups where you can be in a group of other men. Join a martial arts group, something like this. Join like an online program, something like that. That's the fastest way to do it. So that's what I've done. So for example, I worked with Bob Proctor. I was a consultant with him for 2 years, and I was in that environment for 2 years, right? I spent $100,000 working with Bob. Or Brian Mancata, when I was learning YouTube ads, I purchased his $15,000 things to learn how to do YouTube ads. Or Ed Lawrence, who I have now to help me with my YouTube channel. Or William Brown to help me scaling. Or Wes Watson in Habits, right? I've spent probably close to $400,000 in coaches and mentorship to get into the circles to learn different facets of my life, whether it's habits or YouTube or ads or mindset, any of these. And so if you want help with this, if you want to actually pay your way in, which I think is the best way, instead of just cultivating it and using time, you can pay your way in like I've spent with these guys. What you do is check link in the description below, look at my environment and my group that I have here, okay? Number 7, sometimes success requires subtraction and not addition. And I actually want to start with a quote here where it says, success is not about adding more to yourself, but removing what you're not. I remember hearing that from Bob Proctor. A lot of the times we think the next level is adding more things, adding more time, adding more things to our schedule. Well, a lot of the times it's subtracting, getting closer to source, getting closer to the divine within us, and not adding more bullshit. We got to take away. So many men are blocked, not by the lack of skill, but the vices that drain their masculine edge and soul. Here are some of the major vices that I found across these high-performing men that are holding them back. Number 1 is alcohol, drugs, gluttony, lust, such as porn, escorts, meaningless sex, doom scrolling, and all of these weaken your self-respect, distort your focus, and keep you numb, which is the purpose of it. Remember, running from distraction. And gluttony is just overeating and just eating fatty foods, such as like, for example, I found out, I did a blood test, it was like $1,500, and I found out I'm allergic to chicken and like milk products. And I was always wondering why every time I was always having sounds, right? I was always having indigestion. Like I was always having to take these like antacids and stuff at least once a day. Like I literally have a big bottle of it. And you can't focus. If you're in gluttony, overeating, or allergic to certain foods, how can you focus when your body is always like regurgitating itself, right? And you already know that alcohol is a poison, but for a lot of them, it has to do with lust. And the purpose of it is all of these things right here are lowering the self-respect. And what they do is they don't allow us to train the attention, which is our most valuable thing that allows us to go to the next level. So this isn't about morality. Whether you do or you don't, it's completely up to you. What I'm talking about is these things allow us to retrain our focus back so we can put it into things that are outside of the material world, which is getting aligned back with self. So you find enthusiasm back with life. You're able to sleep at night. You have peace, and you're able to enjoy the fruits of your labor that you've been working for all these time, right? And so the men that you admire to become doesn't waste time numbing himself. He forges himself. So I'm just challenging you to really identify what are the cues. What are you running from? What are you distracting from? Because those are the things, like I said at the very beginning from that quote from Marcus Aurelius, that's the path that's going to unlock you to the next level, which is what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. For me to go to the next level, my business to go from 7 figures a year to 7 figures a month, I'm going to have to work with a different client. I'm going to have to work on myself. And that client has a different expectation of me, which is the changes that you've seen. And you're seeing in the content and my delivery and everything that I have here, because I need to level up. But in order for that, I need to work on myself. So I'm doing it here right in front of you. And so what we need to do here is go into number 8, which is this. This is for my wealthy G's, those of you that are well off, right? You got all the money, all the cars, all that stuff. So the high performer is still hollow without alignment. So you've made the money, you've built the businesses, you bought all the cars, all the watches, and you still feel empty. And I know that because, man, there was these binges where I'm like always trying to buy watches and buy the next watch. You buy one watch, and then like within 3 months, 6 months, you want to buy the next one. Sometimes selling it, or you do it with a car or a property or girls or whatever, right? It's like this always need to always be adding something to your portfolio of like material stuff in order to feel something. and you have it for a little bit of time, and then you need to chase that feeling again. But it's an empty feeling, and at late at night you can't sleep. You're wondering what's going on. Like, is there more to life? Is there, what is this? Is this a peace that you're looking for? And that's because success with that identity congruence equals internal war. You're winning outside. You've won the game of what everybody out there is fighting for. You've won that game. But the game in here that's unseen, the spiritual one, that's the one you haven't spent too much time on. And that's where these feelings are coming from. So your goal can't heal a fractured self. Only spiritual alignment, purpose-driven masculinity, and self-respect can do that. And the best way I can say it is like, there's a feeling that cannot be bought. And there's two of them. One of them is like your spiritual, I'm getting the chills thinking about it. This spiritual connection. When I studying this material with Bob Proctor and just understanding my mind and who I am and the image that was created and my ability to create life, there's this feeling of belief that is so wired in me that you can't buy it. You have to earn it by studying. And you can earn it a second way by your self-respect with your habits. When you keep your word to yourself and you find that man cannot be broken, and it's a feeling you cannot purchase with money. And so your goals, I already said that one. You don't need more trophies. You need to return to the man who you were designed to be by God. And maybe you've gone off track a little bit, and the worksheets I have here in a minute will help you get back on track. So a G's real pain isn't lack of potential. You already know that. You already explored that. But what's happening here is misalignment. He's doing too much and being too little. So I like this quote by Howard Truman. He said, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and do that, because what the world needs is people who come alive." And I love that. So that wraps up our key concepts. So let's go into the real world examples. So imagine your life as a role playing game. Okay, you're playing a game now. You're trying to beat the boss level of financial success. So some of you right now, you're trying to go after your financial success, hit your 100K months, $1 million months, whatever that is. So other views, health, right? You have all the material stuff, but your health is shit, right? Or your influence. Now that you have a lot of money, you want influence. Maybe you want to build a personal brand. Maybe you want to get on YouTube. Maybe you want to, add a contribution to your portfolio, right? But you can't do that if your character still sleeps in, indulges in lust, doesn't keep his word to himself, doubts himself, spends without intention, and posts inconsistently. So the problem isn't the mission, it's the character. So you don't need more weapons, aka your strategies. You already know what to do in business. You've been in business for some time. So adding another funnel, marketing strategy, email list, that's not what we're talking about here. You already know how to do that, and you're already doing it, and it's not really getting you too far, or not as fast as you want. So you need to upgrade your character stats, your discipline, your clarity, your self-image, and consistency. Okay, so let's get into some real-world applications and daily actions that we can do so you can take this lesson and implement it into your life. So, by the way, in the description below, I have a free Telegram group. We call it the Telegram Base Camp. Okay, so you can get all the worksheets in here for free. I've just got to join the group, so I give you the Google link in there. Okay, but it's all in there for you. So I'm going to give you a surface level, so if you want to just listen, implement it, or if you want to do the worksheets, which I highly recommend. I spent a lot of time making those worksheets for free. Telegram group, link in the description. Okay, let's talk about number one, audit your current character. So how do we take everything we just talked about and implement it so you can start right now and get to the next level? Number one, audit your current character. Script. I call it scripting. Who are you being right now? And be brutally honest with yourself. Are you battling lust? Are you battling distraction? Are you battling like your addictions to certain things, right? Understand your current habits, your current identity, the things that are in your life right now. You know that. See, prayers is us speaking to God, but intuition is God speaking to us. So in your intuition and watching today's lesson, you already know like certain things have popped up that resonate with you. And those are the things you want to write down. That's your call to God. Like Marcus Aurelius said in that quote, those are the things that God is allowing you to go to the next level if you address it. So I want you to list 5 bad traits, behaviors, and beliefs that you have right now. Maybe it can be one about wealth. For those of you that are still getting your money together, maybe you're not saving money. One thing I learned in my first $1 million that I lost, so I basically made $1 million, lost it, and then built it back up again. So what I learned in that first one is one thing to make $1 million is another thing to keep $1 million. So for those of you, maybe you're not saving money, you're investing money and putting money away, right? Or or if you, for those of you that have money, maybe it's a certain behavior. You're cheating on your wife. You're having lustful activities. Maybe it's drugs, it's alcohol, it's binges, something like this. Or it's a belief. Maybe you keep having these beliefs and these ideas that are limiting, that are hindering your growth, or maybe overthinking that doesn't allow you to sleep at night. Write all of those things down. Get a clear audit of where you're currently at right now. So that allows us to go into step number 2 here, which is identify the traits of your upgraded self. This is the fun part. This is where you get to sit down and think about, what do I want to create? Remember when we talked about self-image and it was created between 0 to 7? Now you get to rewrite your new identity. You've done it before, but now we're going to do it to the next level with like consciousness, not just doing it because the outside environment is causing you to do it. So I want you to name 3 to 5 role models or leaders that you admire. Who are these people? What are the traits that they have? Like, for example, Bob Proctor, when it comes to this material and the teachings and his consistency over the years while he was alive, I would write him down. I'll take down, for example, Yados. I like Yados, where he talks about getting your habits in check, and or whatever. Like, write down those people that you have here so that you can align with them and you can pick out the identity traits that you like. So you want to ask yourself when you write these 3 to 5 people, what traits do I like about them that I want? And begin writing your new character profile. Hit your personalities, your habits, your energy, even your wardrobe. That's a big one. If you guys have noticed on my YouTube channel, I've changed the way I dress because I target now wealthy individuals. So before, for the first 5 years, my first 500 clients, the first several $1 million that I did, I was helping people make money, helping them 2 to 5x their revenue. And that's great. But now for me to go to the next level, I want to work with a wealthier client. And so I had to change my wardrobe while staying true to myself. I had to change my identity and the things that I quote unquote valued or flexed, right? Because there are certain things that they don't care about. And so I need to change myself. So I'm changing my habits, my content, my business, my wardrobe. And that's some of the things that I had. And another thing is list down 5 good traits and behaviors and beliefs that you want to implement. So for example, one thing that I really wanted to implement was the habit of paying for the table. That's something, I didn't come from that environment where we would pay for the table or jump to pay for the table. But living here in Dubai, sometimes I run into these wealthy guys that they're like fighting to pay for the table. And I love that. And I wanted to increase that and add that to my character. So that's what I wrote down. So I add that. So now I'm at the table. I'm now aware that I am the gentleman that pays for the table. I don't care how many people are there. Even if I had a bottle of water, I'm the man that's paying for the table. Because you don't want to be the opposite, the guy that's never paying, because you know who that guy is. You don't want to really invite him out, right? So number 3, build the routines that match the character. Okay, so we did a spiritual part. Now we got to get into the habits that match. So you got to get your wake up time, whether you're waking up at the same time, going to sleep at the same time, your diet, your study plan, your money habits, your social media usage, your gym protocol. And I have some stuff in the worksheet to help you on there. And one shift at a time, start small and stay consistent. You have to focus on only one habit at a time. Here's the best way to explain it. I want you to think of it as is a domino, the big domino. What's the one domino such that by knocking it over, other dominoes will fall into place? Okay, so for example, one habit that I'm working on is waking up early. I noticed that when I wake up early, which is 6 a.m. here in Dubai, because most of my clients are in America, that if I wake up early, I naturally meditate here in the sun, right here on the beach. I will do my meditations. I will study. I will, I hit the gym. I do all my morning routines, and I'm ace, and I feel good about myself. But I keep trying to get up early, but yet I go to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying to wake up at 6. It's impossible. So what I found out is that my big domino, my one big habit was actually going to sleep early. Sounds funny. If I went to sleep early, now is my one domino, I would naturally wake up early. So I would wake up early, I would meditate, I would study, I would hit the gym, and I would do my deep work session. And I would get all of that done in the first few hours in the morning, and all of that because I went to bed early. You see, there's one domino, one habit that you can implement right now that if you did it, it would knock over other dominoes and they would fall into place. You don't want to do more than 2 habits. I'm telling you right now, 1 is great, 2 maximum. But any more than 2, you're going to fall because you need to put your mental attention to rewrite your mind. So you focus on one habit. What's that one habit? Whether you write that down or whether you do it on the worksheet. Number 4, really important when it comes to now your identity, your self-image, and your subconscious mind, is you have to script and embody your new self. Use some identity statements such as this. I am the man who executes without hesitation. I am the leader who walks in discipline and focus. And begin to act as if you have it now, even when it's not convenient. And I'm not talking about going in the mirror and doing like woo-woo like affirmations. I'm talking about the words that you say to yourself. For example, let's go back to the sleeping early example. I don't have that voice that says I wake up early, or I didn't in the past. So now I reinforce it in my own mind. So when I am going to sleep and I'm preparing my bed space and I have my alarms and I'm making the decision, that's my one habit, right? I'm telling myself the story. I am a man that wakes up early. I am a man that goes to sleep early. I'm a man that does this. I'm reinforcing it in my mind, not the woo-woo affirmations in the mirror type thing. It's the story you're telling yourself. That's a differentiator. And here's an important part is where the law of assumption comes into place. Assume that you are that person now. It say that if you believe, you can believe yourself into the action. You can believe yourself into the result. Neville Goddard talked a lot about this in the law of assumption, where assume you're that person. And you've done it before, like when you went to a meeting, let's just say you were underqualified or underperformed or something like this. And you went to the meeting, but you finessed your way into it because you like portrayed as you had the result, almost like bluffing to yourself, right? Lying to yourself until it actually becomes real. It's a real thing, and the subconscious mind, being a spiritual thing, cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. It only understands the now. So by you assuming it into position, it actually comes a lot faster and it actually works. Number 5, join a brotherhood or create one. Whether you're going to create your own environment, like what I'm doing here with my YouTube channel, at the time 24,000 subscribers, 500 plus clients, I have my own environment. So whether you want to create one by building a personal brand, which I'll talk about in another video, which I highly recommend that you do, especially if you're wealthy, make a personal brand, or whether you join one, spend some money. Like I've showed you all this money I've spent joining these masterminds to really increase this. Join a mastermind group. So audit your circle. Who challenges you? Are your friends people that are at your level and above that challenge you to become this? Are they on the same path as you? Think about this. Think about your close friends right now. Would they be watching a video like this talking about leveling up, or would they be watching some degeneracy? So I want you to audit this. Who drains you? And plug into a high performance environment and accountability groups. You can join motorsports. You can join a fitness, like a martial arts. You can join a mindset or business program such as mine. Click the first link in the description below. It is application. It's going to cost you a freaking bag, but we're going to get you lined up really well. I've been doing this for some time. So whether you join my program, join somebody else's, I highly recommend you join one. Number 6, detox protocol. Choose one vice now. So you have one habit you're going to implement and one vice you're going to eliminate, and you're going to swap them. Okay? So choose one vice to eliminate or fast from for the week. That's it. So let's just say it's porn, right? And what's a cue? Let's just say you lay in bed and you get on your laptop to watch some YouTube or whatever that is, and the cue is, okay, it's bedtime. I'm on my back, laying down. It's time to watch some porn. That's the cue. Maybe what's one thing you can do to fast? And you already know you've tried to stop before, if this is you, right? You've tried to stop before. So putting blockers or VPNs and shit, that doesn't work for you. So one thing you could do is maybe, let's just say it's your laptop where you watch it, maybe put your laptop in a different room. Maybe put your phone in a different room, because now you don't have the cue to make it happen. Does that make sense? So choose one to eliminate and track how your energy is. Track how your self-respect is. That's that feeling that you can't buy. Track your self-respect and track the clarity shift. This is what we're talking about. When you get more aligned to yourself, this is where you start to find that more fulfillment, is by keeping your word to yourself. And just do this one vice. Don't try to do all of them. Focus on just one. Big domino effect. One vice, that's such that by doing it, everything else will fall into play. Okay? And so the next one is ask yourself daily, is this behavior aligned with the man that I am becoming? And number 7 here, alignment audit. Every Sunday night, answer these 3 questions. Number 1, did I live in integrity with the man that I say that I am? This is so important. For those of you that maybe you did it for a period of time, maybe you have never done it, I'm telling you right now, and by the way, I'm not saying that I am some magic person here. I'm doing it with you. I'm more of an older brother documenting, like adding you to the group. Let's do it together so that we can get that feeling. You'll feel it in my videos. You'll feel it in my frequency. Number 2, what did I do this week that cost me peace? What did I do? Did I start an argument with my wife? Did you go out there and do some shit with an escort, and now you're fucking overthinking it, right? For like the rest of the week because you did something you shouldn't have done, right? That's an example. What caused you peace, and only align with things that bring you peace? And number 3, what a spiritual aligned version of yourself, what would a spiritually aligned version of me immediately eliminate? What would you stop right now? Like, for example, when I changed my wardrobe, I put away all the designer stuff, the Dior, the Gucci, and everything, and I put that stuff away. I put it in a box, and I went and I bought 15 pairs of shirts and pants and shoes and everything. It took me like 3 hours of shopping. I don't know why the ladies like that. That shit was stressful. But now I have my new wardrobe, and I made an immediate action. in everything that I was doing. Eliminate it. What would your spiritual self that was aligned, what would he do immediately? Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go here and let's go into integration. So the best way to do this is you can just right now I guarantee most of you, 99% of you, just listen to what I said and you're just listening to it. You need to go and do it. That's why I said do the worksheets. It's completely for free. There's no opt-in. It's in the Telegram group. It's going to be pinned at the top of the chat, so go ahead and join it there, and you can get straight to the Google Doc. So that's why I recommend implementing at the highest level. Okay, so 7-day character shift. Day 1, here's what your game plan will look like. Character audit. That's today. And then your vision script. Where are you currently at and where do you want to go? Day 2. Day 2 to day 3. Behavior swap. Swap one upgraded trait to practice daily. Going to sleep early. Mindful meditation. Going to the gym. Something like this. 1, not 5. 1. Day 4 to 5. Environmental edit. Change your workplace. Change your wardrobe. Change your routine. If you work in the home, maybe try an office. If you work at a cafe, try working at home. Like I set up my home office here. Or number 6 here, replace one judgment with admiration. Find somebody out there and give them some gratitude. And day number 7, record a voice memo as your new identity and listen to it daily. So how do we anchor all of this in together, gentlemen? So your goals aren't too big. Your character is too small. When you redesign your identity to align with your ambitions, effort becomes embodiment. You become a different version. You level up. You kill the old version of yourself. And now you realize you become the creator of your life and you become a god. Start now. The version of you that wins in 12 months must be created now. You have the potential to become a god. It was stated in the Bible. It was stated in theory. The thing that separates us from living from birds, trees, and horses is that we have the ability to use our imagination, to see the life that we want, to implement to real life, to sit down and create who do I want to be? What is the identity? What is the character so that you can go to the next level so you can finally find profit. We're going to make some money and lots of it, but most importantly, have peace and then also have power. Power inside, that self-respect because we have disciplines, certain habits, we've dropped our vices, and we became the man that we wrote on a piece of paper, and that's a feeling that you cannot buy. Go out there, try it yourself, try it out in the worksheets so you can do it, implement it, and if you want me to help you because you want to go faster and you want to keep this like at the highest level, go ahead and click the first link in the description below, apply to be in my U Squared program, and we'll take you to the next level. This is your man, Mr. Law of Attraction. I'll see you in the next video.